Hello guys, today we're going to talk about the movie Hell Night. Now, this is a very, this is a somewhat obscure horror movie from the early 80s, but we'll get into the details on it in a bit. It was made in 1981, released in 1981, it's rated R, it's an hour 41 minutes long. It was released on DVD in 1999, but this copy is a very new copy. I will say this, Shout Factory, there's various companies like Shout Factory have done a very great job in the recent years of re-releasing these obscure, awesome movies and TV shows on Blu-ray. Other companies like Shout Factory, I do like, thank you for that. I appreciate that, because without you, we'll be stuck with the popular shit all the time, and I don't always want popular shit, even though the popular shit can be good. On IMDb, it has a 5.8 out of 10 with about 4,800-ish user votes. It doesn't have Metacritic votes on it. It stars Linda Blair, who played Reagan on The Exorcist, the movie Exorcist. So we got a big name right there. And Vincent Van Putten, who was in Rock and Roll High School. Linda Blair's kind of the big name here. Everyone else is... I'll get into the acting in a little bit. It was directed by Tom DeSimone, who directed Swamp Thing. Believe it or not, there was two Swamp Thing movies and a TV series back in the 80s. They did okay, but I haven't seen them, so I won't get in on them, but I'm curious, to say the least. It has a 56% on Rotten Tomatoes with about 9 critics, low number. 56% by audiences with about 100-ish user votes. There's no critics consensus, of course. It's not available for streaming. It's available to rent and buy on Google Play, Vudu, YouTube, and iTunes. God. Okay, so first, I love the score to this movie. I really do. It's very creepy. It's very old school 80s horror, and it's not just a typical, it's kind of slashery, but here's the thing. The movie takes place during a costume party, so the whole movie has a Victorian vibe with slasher elements. So it's a mixture of kind of like the old school, like Victorian era horror, Victorian style horror movies and slasher film. I love the cinematography in this. It's gorgeously colored. The acting's actually not that bad for an 80s horror movie, and I will say this, the characters for the most part are actually the main four, or whatever, roughly four in this, are likable, and we get to know them quite a bit. And the movie gets intense. I mean, the movie, in my opinion, is the right kind of scary for a horror movie. And the special effects are awesome too. I love the special effects in this. It's good practical 80s horror special effects. In terms of flaws, the only real flaw in it is that it isn't, since it's a slasher film, it does have a few cliches like certain character traits or whatever, but it makes a lot of changes. It has a lot of originality to it. Are there moments of clichéness? There certainly are, but there's a lot of originalness to it, and it does deserve a viewing. It is an R movie, though, not for kids. This is for adults, especially horror movie fanatics. In terms of, I will say this, it is kind of confusing on how many bad guys there are, and that's a whole nother topic there, and I'll get into spoiler territory. So, I will say this, just kind of go with it. Don't really worry about, like, what this and what that or whatever. But yeah. Like I said, acting's very good. For an 80s horror movie, the acting's great, the story is good, a lot of great character development, and very atmospheric. Great atmosphere horror. I will say this, it's incredibly atmospheric. And gore-wise, there's not a lot of gore in it, but the moments, but it's not like gore throughout. It just kind of teases you a little bit of it at first, and then it just explodes. So the amount of gore, it's more on the minimal side, but it's there. When you see it, it's not like throughout, but when it's there, it's fucking there. But yeah, that's all I really have to say about it. I mean, I kind of don't want to get too far into it because I kind of don't want to ruin the experience. Because watching it for the first time was very awesome for me. But yeah, that's all I had to say about it. But yeah, that's Hell Knight. Check it out. I will warn you, this copy was it's pretty expensive. So if you want to see it, buy it. I think it was worth the experience for the purchase. Very worth it. Despite the numbers and approval ratings, it's a pretty solid horror movie. It's atmospheric, has great effects, the acting's solid, the story is good, you get to know the characters, the characters feel fleshed out, and yeah, special effects horror. And the bad guys, or guy, or whatever, is pretty creepy looking. I will say that. But yeah, thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like the videos, and have a good day.